It's Michael's son or daughter. I mean,
Yeah, I'll take Aizen.
okay.
What's your position and like just like what's it called?
That
What's
my
your
character wins
via what?
via just via her ability. Like the first ability that I'll posit is that I think that my character can take your character to the stations of their pre-life and completely negate their ability before they even get the chance to use it.
We can discuss over that.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
I don't care. Sure.
Because like I think my ability could just negate that if I just go first.
You can try to scale. Yeah.
All right. Does your character have the 5 senses before we get into this?
Does my character have what?
The 5 senses, like taste, touch, hear, sight, breathe, like nigga can see and shit.
I don't think I can confirm or deny that because I've never seen them in such an instance interact. They've obviously flown through physics. Characters can be above physics as well, and they've flown in spaces to where physics doesn't necessarily apply. For example, the overvoid. So I think it can be like inferred that she isn't bound to such, but I won't confirm or deny whether she has such things.
Whether she has like able to be perceived.
The
or
5
stuff,
senses, right?
Can you show scans of those, like of the overvoid and shit? I want to see that.
Why? I'm confused.
Yeah, you said that she's able to do like all these such things, like beyond the thing. Like, yeah, I just want to see statements for those things, like just not encompassing space or time, or like being able to have.
Oh, that has nothing to do with my point. I don't really care to show her. I was just answering your question because you said you were scaling.
Yeah, you said you don't know of it because like there's other things to indicate that. I just want to see the other things.
No, I know. I already gave my response to that.
Or yeah, where's the proof for it? You can give your response.
I don't need proof for it. That's not my point that I'm arguing right now.
So
whether you believe it or not doesn't really matter. I was just answering your question because I'm assuming it's relevant to your scaling, so I didn't want to hold you back.
Yeah, I understand that, but you're saying you don't know because there's other things to indicate that. I just want to see specifically.
No, I know what you want to see. I already explained though that I don't think it's relevant for me to until I get that point as a proposition.
I mean, again, I can just dismiss that.
That's okay. I have no issue with that. I was just answering your question. When I get to the point where I have to scale and I have to prove that, then of course I'll prove. But at the moment,
but again, but even if I grant that like she doesn't have the 5 senses, how is she to fight me, my character?
Oh, I've already given my win con. You said you were scaling, so
yeah, but she needs to see my character for her.
Yo, what is the server of this, bro? Why do I always lag every time I'm in VSB? What were you saying?
Yeah, but
Discord's bugging
again,
right now.
she would need to see my character for her.
What was that?
Again, she would need to see my character to her in order to like do that ability.
Why?
Yo, is that me liking or him?
No, that's me, but I asked why.
You know, how the fuck is she gonna use an ability when she can't see what the nigga's at? Or is she gonna
you made the proposition that that's some type of prerequisite to use my abilities, so I'm asking for the logic.
Yeah, she would need to, yeah, again, I just gave you the basis.
No, you gave me what you think is the case. You didn't give me the basis behind why.
Did you
just asked how she did this without saying.
No. I said you would need to direct.
So I mean, we can ask Kuro or someone in VC.
No, I
think I could bet my life that that's what he said.
Wait, did you hear what I said after that?
Probably not, because I'm lagging a little bit. You can restart that.
Yeah, okay. I said, well, why? Oh, my bad. I said she would need to direct it somewhere. If she has no knowledge of where that somewhere is, how would she direct it to a place?
Why does Ding actually? Here, let me explain this. I'm gonna hop on phone because maybe I'll lag less on phone. Why am I? Let's be. This server's called debating, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the vanity.
Debates. The vanity is debates.
All right, bet. I come through with the thing. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So basically, right? I had already explained that, or really, I'd asked you, why is this a necessary prerequisite? I didn't fully hear your response towards such.
Yeah, I said like specifically if she applies this ability towards my character, she would have knowledge over she would need to have knowledge over like my character whereabouts
Why?
are. If yeah, how the fuck would you apply it to something you just don't know? You're just freeballing?
Well, I don't know. I'm not the one who made such a proposition.
Exactly.
You made the proposition that my
Exactly.
character would need such, so I'm asking how,
Yeah,
or really why.
specifically if you have something external towards like the normative use of where we apply abilities, I guess you can try to posit that, but like that's gonna need proof behind it.
I'm not positing
But
anything.
the normative assumption, wait, stop. But the normative assumption on where we do apply stuff towards things, we would need knowledge about where the fuck it is. Like, I'll give you an example. If I try to, what's it called, use a Kamehameha on fucking Gohan or some shit, I would need to know where the whereabouts of Gohan and where to direct the Kamehameha specifically to damage Gohan.
Why does this logic apply to my character?
I said it's the normative. You want to move on?
No, I don't. I actually want an answer.
Yeah, I already gave the answer.
Not really. I mean, you said that this was the normative assumption, and that if I wanted to try to use some type of external logic that I can, but normatively we assume that we have to place the coordinates of something. And you gave Kamehameha as an example of this. But that's in a completely different logical root set compared to DC. For example, in
Yeah,
DC,
prove that.
we have characters such as, of course, yeah, we have characters such as, let's say, what's the god of DC? Oh yeah, the Presence. I don't believe you have such a character in Dragon Ball. That in itself is a distinction. But even if we were to assume such characters were to be the case, that still wouldn't posit or like hold any presuppositions on the logic of my character. It seems more so that you're making such a presupposition, and then when I ask you to explain the logic of this basis, you say, "Well, we just assume this." And of course, we could assume it, but I don't really care to assume it because we're in a debate rather than just a discussion. So if you make a proposition, then I'm curious to hear, the basis of such.
Hey, what was the presence part? I couldn't hear that. I was playing for now.
I stated that the presence, for example, is someone who's considered a temporal, aspatial being, almost like like a figurative god of DC compared to something that we have in Dragon Ball. But I also stated that even if we were to accept the conclusion that someone like Whis or someone like the gods of Dragon Ball held like a similar relevance, it still wouldn't speak any logic to my character, since that doesn't really apply to my character unless you're going to say
Yeah,
it
why?
does, to which I like proof of such.
Yeah, why? That's what's in question right now. Why?
I agree. That's why I want an answer to the question.
So you just kind of yeah. Again, so that distinction of like I guess the character itself. Why does that put a distinction now on how the abilities apply?
Oh, I never made the proposition it does. It would seem the case that you made the proposition that there is a distinction, and then you tried
Yeah.
to kind of go back to that proposition by saying, well, it's just normatively how we assume things.
No.
Which I asked you about how that's the case, and I also
never
asked
made it
you
definitive.
why
I
that
don't know
logic would
where.
apply to my character.
Yo, whose argument are you checking? That's not my argument.
Yes, it is. If you disagree, you can give a response, though.
Oh my god, that's not my argument. Specifically, I never made it definitive that would be the case that there is no distinction. I'm saying generally, if it is assumed so that we have no distinction, but if you try to posit something external to it where would be the case that there has a distinction, you can try to posit that. And your distinction towards this is just the distinction of entities, not necessarily how the ability is going to be applied.
I said I didn't give a distinction. In fact, I hold
Yes,
no
you did.
firm proposition on whether.
You
Relax,
said
please.
you said the
Relax.
god. You said no.
Oh, Carol,
You're
can you
lying.
please mute?
You literally
I'm
said
trying
the
to give
god
a
of
response,
DC
and
and the
he's just over
god of.
talking me. Thank you. But yeah, I never gave like a firm proposition on such, nor did I really give a distinction. The only comparison factor or distinction I gave, at least within this debate, is simply that the idea of like a god existing in such a level of existence isn't something that we usually see in Dragon Ball. But even if we were to accept such a conclusion, which I feel like that already infers that I don't mind whether you agree or disagree, right? I'm saying that in such an instance, it still doesn't hold any presuppositions or affirm any conclusions on the logic of my character. Because we have to understand why we're even discussing this, right? We're discussing this because of my character's ability to see the pre-stations or take you through the pre-stations of your pre-life. And you stated that, my character would have to see such. And I still haven't had proof or valid basis given. It seemed that you tried to step back on this proof by saying, well, it wouldn't make sense for her to have this ability or use this ability if she can't establish where he is. To which I asked, why is this a necessary precondition of my character? That's where I'm at right now. So just to clarify, I'm not affirming any presuppositions on that end.
Yo, can we mute him? I want talking sticks since like I got muted. So I don't want like him having the potential. I don't want to have like you just cut me off right there. So yeah, you can All right, so Kirk, you mute him.
Oh, I don't agree to talking stick.
I never said it was talking stick. I said talking stick for a little bit right here.
He did not say that.
But
I was about to say, it's cool, man. You can just respond.
All right, yeah. So first off, I never made the claim that is a necessary precondition for your character. I said that we assume that is a necessary precondition for your character to apply this towards another person. I already gave a normative factor. You never like really attacked that. So generally, when we have these cross-reference debates, unless there is some form of distinction, and your only distinction necessarily was like me saying, "Oh, there's a distinction inside of the entities itself," not how the ability is applied. That burden was never proven. Like he's not drawing some form of distinction on how we apply these sorts of abilities inside of fiction. He's just basically saying, "Oh, since there's a god and the portrayal of this god is like some non-spatial or non-temporal being, how can we make the conclusion that this non-temporal being will have the same amount of like logic applied towards him rather than a physical character?" Which is a nasty presupposition that the ability of itself would change on top of like the dimensionality. I don't see an argument for that, but we can move on if you want to.
No, I actually don't want to. Now, to address what you had said, it seems to be the case that there's a confusion here. I actually already addressed the normative point by asking you why this has to necessarily apply. In fact, it would seem that you addressed this for some reason before I even did. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Shut up, damn.
But basically, right? You had already said previously that this would be the case unless I was trying to use some type of other logic. So it seems that in itself already kind of confirms that you're fine with this logic not necessarily being used. But let's say you're not fine with such. This would posit a burden on your end to prove that this is necessarily how my character has to operate. Unless you're saying that it's completely contradictory for my character to operate any other way than this, which would also require proof. So there's already a sense of levels of burdens to what you're saying. That's why even though you make a claim of how something normally has to be applied, I don't necessarily have to agree to this because I don't even agree that this is the normative standard. That seems to be like a kind of presupposition that you kind of assume on your own.
Wait, did you not hear me? Like,
and I was going to say, please relax. Yeah. What I was saying though is that to your next point about dimensionality, I already explained that my character, in such a sense, has this ability. What I hadn't explained is to what extent they have the ability. In fact, I never even gave multiple preconditions to my ability. Now, I want to do this eventually, but you say that you want it to scale first, to which it kind of went into, rather than you scaling, you're just more of like kind of nitpicking at what my character can do, which I don't mind. But I've never made any presuppositions or made any prop about the level of my character's ability. In fact, I just questioned the prop you made. To which in this instance, you stated that my character is limited to such. And that's what I want evidence and proof for. Now, I think after this, unless you bring up a new point, if we're going to repeat, I would like to move on in that instance. But yeah.
I swear you're f***ing funny putting on this soundboard.
I got a quick question. Wait, Archie, what's in question right now?
Right now? So what's in question? Well, I feel like there's multiple things in question. One, what's in question is whether my ability or my character's ability is limited to their perception of whether they can see the ability or the person or the target that they're using the ability on. And then two, that the normative presupposition that people usually take in instances is that that's how abilities work. Those are two propositions that I don't necessarily
hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so
I agree.
So yeah, you were right in the first part. What's in question currently is if the way you apply specific abilities inside of a fictional setting are just going to be dependent upon your perception. If not, it's going to be the case. If you have no perception on specifically what the target is, I don't think you can make the broad conclusion that this person would be able to pinpoint where it is unless he has some external hack. Again, you just saying that I don't know if my character has this ability or not. The ability to see the five senses or perceive a character at all, and we don't know if that's the intent of what makes you applying the abilities towards something. Again, like I'm gonna ask you one more time before we like move on. If you have no perception of like what your surroundings, so no sentience about where your other character is, how can we make this conclusion? Like, I don't even know if that's possible for you to say you can apply something where you just don't know where it is. That's like saying if there's a brick wall behind this mattress and I'm able to hit and I don't have knowledge of that brick wall, I'm able to know what the fuck and apply ability towards that brick wall, even though I don't know where the fuck it is. That's so fucking stupid. But again, specifically what's in question right now, again, is that the normative factor or like the normative assumption when we go into cross versus battle debates is that this person would be able to have perceivance, or my bad, a perspective on where or observation on where your character is in order to apply their ability for. I will send that as well if you want me to, but if you don't like answer that specific question, we can move on.
Reply,
do you want me to send that as well, or are you good with that?
I'm not good with that. You can send it if you'd like, but I just don't accept such a prop. But to reply to what you had said, it kind of seemed almost as though you repeated yourself. I understand the burden of proof is, and I understand your skepticism towards my ability, but your skepticism seems misplaced because I haven't made a proposition for you to be skeptic about. You kind of jumped the gun and made the proposition that my character cannot do such ability or use such ability without seeing, to which I asked for proof behind. Now,
No,
you had asked me,
yeah, we can move
relax.
on.
But you had asked me, relax, please. But you had asked me basically if I believe my character can do such. To which I had already previously stated, I don't affirm whether my character can do this or deny whether my character can do this because I haven't made a prop yet. That would just place a useless burden on me when I'm not even scaling my character yet. The entire point of this was for you to scale your character. That's why I'm not going to answer such, because it's just going to place a nonsensical burden on me. Because I don't really care whether my character can do this at the moment because it's not really relevant to the current point. What's relevant is whether my character cannot do this, which is the proposition that you made. So it does seem a bit disingenuous for you to ask of how the opposite can be the case when you're the one who affirms said position. But
It's
even
called
then, it seems that we're repeating ourselves, and I don't want to go into an ad nauseum. So if you feel that you've properly justified your position, and if you feel that I've given my statement and I haven't, then we could just push to conclusion.
Yeah, but do you understand what a counterfactual is before we go to conclusions?
Of course. You said a counterfact?
Yeah, counterfactual. Saying like, oh,
Well,
if we don't accept this, well, we must accept. Okay, so basically, it's saying we must accept X to be the case because of how the absurd conclusion of Y is. So I'm basically saying we must accept the normative factor of this to be the case, of that your character must have observation of this, because if we look at how the absurd conclusion of what Y is, if they don't know the ability or they don't know where the fuck the person is, or know where the person is, how could they apply to it? That's an absurd conclusion. I'm just taking the less absurd conclusion and appealing to that one, providing a simple counterfactual. Do you want to move on though?
No. So to clarify what a counterfactual is, or what a counterfact is, they're generally just thought of as evaluations, right? If you look it up like right now, or if you want, I can stream this and we can all study together. An example of counterfact or counterfactual that generally comes to mind is, okay, if Peter believed in ghost, he would be afraid to be here, right? But we have to understand that even this counterfactual condition contains conditions that don't necessarily have to be true. This is not evident in itself an affirmation of a truth, nor does it refer to truth claims. For example, if Peter believed in ghost, he would be afraid to be here. This holds the proposition that if he believed in ghost, or the presupposition, that if he believes in ghost, he's immediately has to be afraid of ghost, right? But that proposition would already have to be affirmed for such evaluation to be true. Now, this is just in the idea of how our world works. Now, if we take it something like DC, we have to understand that, in this instance, if we're going to assume, if she can't do this, then how is she going to do this? That would be an amazing question if you hadn't already. Please relax. I said that would be an amazing question. Okay, can someone please mute him? Because I'm just trying to explain my point. That's all. Right? Now, back to what I was saying previously.
Sorry to interrupt. Did y'all agree to Kira moderating this?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had to give. That's my fault. I shipped his perms. That's why he wasn't moderating.
No,
I shipped his perms because I didn't know he muted. Yeah. Okay, he's giving them. Also, before we continue, Psychotic, can you get off Discord and change those damn smoke alarms, bro? It's kind of crazy, dog. I can hear this shit in the background.
Hop off my balls, but like, bro, chill out.
Bruh,
It
it
wasn't a
takes 2
counterfactual.
seconds to change those smoke alarms, bruh. It takes 2 seconds to take them damn batteries out and pop new ones in. Alright, continue with your debate.
Okay.
But it wasn't a
So you already
counterfactual, my
agree
bad.
that
It was
it
really
wasn't.
bad, yo.
That's amazing. So do you want to just
Yeah,
want to push to conclusion?
Yeah, it was using the same logic to what's it called, go to an absurd conclusion that the Q would be able to pinpoint where this is. But do you understand that point?
I did, and I believe I already fully respond to it.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. I wasn't here. My shit got out.
My statement that I made in reference to propositions and you questioning such was a statement made when you were present, and it's just the same logic that I used to address that.
Bro, my Discord crashed. I'm telling you.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, I'll just repeat briefly. I think that questioning X is okay, but I think to counter question X when you already made proposition about X to kind of strive away from such burden isn't something much relevant to reply to. Because if we understand what a burden of proof is, and if you made prop about X, evidence is needed behind X, or else I could just dismiss it. That's something that I've kind of just been reiterating most of the time.
That does give explanatory power. You show how like inconsistency of or the negation of it. What's it called? Basis on why we must, I guess, accept the affirmative. Like if I say, oh, we ought to. What's the example? We should not kill this person because that would end his life. But if we don't kill this person, preserve his life. So we should preserve this person's life, right? Oh, did you check what I just? Yeah, do you think like if we don't kill this person, like see the what's it called, the absurdity and the other conclusion? So we just keep the first conclusion or the affirmative.
This would be the case within like normative. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk. Where is it?
Do you want me to write it down? Like,
no, I heard what you said. I was just gonna say basically, right? This would be the case of like if there was a preponderance of evidence and a normative basis of logic that was being set, which is something that we can measure within our own realities because we can like perform like a physiological measurement on certain parameters of our reality regarding our inferences regarding of whether, for example, like if randomly I hear like a glass shatter and there's milk and stuff on the floor, that's something that could be physiologically measured to confirm such an analysis. That something that's very distinctive about that compared to DC or compared to really just the realm of fiction is that there is no normative measurement of such, since there are different logics, different gateways, and just overall different commonly accepted facts from different verses. That's why, which is kind of what I said earlier. That's why such a factor doesn't really make any sense. And even if it were to make sense and you somehow were to get some preponderance of evidence, I still have never accepted that such a normative basis is applied to DC or really just the consensus of fiction anyways. So even accepting such a conclusion on preponderance of evidence still wouldn't necessarily confirm such a fact.
Said, and that's what's in question right now if it doesn't apply to that. But again, right, don't like what I just said. Can we just move on?
I mean, I definitely felt that I did, and I agree that's what's in question. That's why I'm questioning you on it. It's not something that's in question.
What's your basis? So again, what's the basis on why it having like where's like the different logical system? I never saw that before. You never.
Oh, you don't believe that different fictions have different logical systems?
I never said that. I never said like what's the burden? The burden that what's called DC has a different logical system than Bleach.
I never stated that it did.
You said
we have different
logical systems that don't abide by the same logic. What the fuck?
I just said that's certain fictional systems. Sorry, what was that?
Do you want to check recording?
We don't need to. I heard what I said. But what I specifically mentioned, though, is that this has been reference to fiction compared to reality. So it seems that you may need to check recording for what I said. I was drawing a comparison to the way our reality works. For example, the example I gave of physiological measurements, to the way we interpret fiction, not necessarily just Bleach and DC. And it's also important to understand that the burden of proof is not on me to prove that they are different. It's for you to prove that there's a normative basis and a consensus, which is actually a proposition that you made, I think, about 20 to 30 minutes ago, which still hasn't fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that after we move on from this.
Okay.
All right. So specifically, what did you say at the start? I can hear you.
At the start of what?
Like the start of like the whole thing. Like, were you talking about what's it called? It having, you were in reference towards like this specific verse, or reference towards the
Okay. I think if you're confused on that, then we should probably just move on, because I don't really feel like repeating myself, honestly. Just being honest with you. But
bro, I didn't hear it. I was dead ass playing for a number.
that's okay. I already responded to that.
Oh, okay, but I'll just get to this. I'll get this point gone. If he did say that at all, what's it called? Specifically, even if you say that doesn't correlate towards fucking reality, I gave you an example where it corresponds towards something real, like that's in reality. I showed you what's it called, the example of murder or killing babies or stuff. In a fictional sense, for the different logical systems that exist inside of us, we don't apply the same logic. You said that, I don't know why this applies to DC because we have different logical systems inside of DC. That burden was never fulfilled. I mean, we can move on if you want to.
No, I definitely already responded to such. In fact, I think maybe about 30 minutes ago I did. I mentioned to you about how, for example, I gave the example of our gods being very, very different in such an instance. And then I even told you, even if we were to accept such a claim that those gods are synonymous in power and in nature of their existence, about how this still wouldn't prove that on a normative basis such things apply to all. So even if one were to attack or not agree with that statement that they have different logical rule sets, that's completely fine, because I never made quite the proposition on whether they do or don't. Not specifically in reference to the gods of their universe, to which I even accepted that is an irrelevant point. And even if one were not to accept that, it still wouldn't inherently prove that they are under the same normative logic, which is what you stated previously. And then you even gave an example you mentioned about their logics and the rules of our personal universe, to which I told you that still wouldn't prove about how that applies to my universe. It's actually been something that I've stated multiple times, and honestly, I'm getting bored of repeating. That's why I was just going to ask if we can move on, because I don't think you fully understand my point, to be fair, and I don't think, Yeah, what's up?
The gods itself apply abilities towards, like, I guess, their enemies or something. Like, if they have a DC god, it would apply his ability towards, like, something or some shit.
I never made a statement about that.
No, that's what we're discussing. Right? You perception about the ability itself to apply it.
Well, you stated that my character does.
No, that's what we're arguing currently.
I agree. You stated my character does, and I want proof for such. What do you mean?
No, I already gave proof. I said some talent for you to use. Do you want to move on?
You didn't.
You haven't tracked my position at all.
No, I definitely did. And you haven't given proof. What you gave was what you attempted to be some subpar explanation. Please don't get muted. Relax, please. It's not that big a deal. Now, anyways, the idea is the response you gave and the quote-unquote proof you gave was really just an assumption. I could say that I also gave a proof and a counter-argument against such because I logically explained my presupposition about such arguments as well. And then at that instance, we'd have to compare proof drastically. The proof that you gave wasn't something that can be confirmed, at least under what you're attempting to give, which I assume because you haven't confirmed it. Right, you just simply gave a logical, or I won't even say logical, you gave an explanation of why you feel as though my character would need such, and that this would be presupposition, to which an attempt to try to use counterfactual, which you used incorrectly, and then moved it more towards the idea of what we normatively assume, to which I told you I do not normatively assume that, and you cannot prove that people normatively assume this unless you can, to which I want evidence for such. But you haven't given evidence for such.
I was getting evidence.
If you don't believe, relax. Now, if you don't believe that I did fully respond to your point, again, I've said it multiple times now. This is about my fifth time repeating. We can just go to conclusions. I'm completely fine with that. Would you like to?
Yeah. We can go to conclusion if you answer this. What was your response towards me saying, what's it called? We have to accept, like, this person would have some form of, like, it's presupposed that this person would have some form of, assumption on where your character is. If they, like, in order to apply the ability towards it. Like, what was your response towards that?
I said that I don't believe this is the case, and I'd like evidence for such. That was my response towards it.
Yeah, I gave an entailment. The try to apply abilities towards some stuff. I gave an example with like what's it called, the brick wall. I said there's a brick wall behind this mattress, and I direct my abilities towards it. I would need to know where to direct it specifically in order to hit the brick wall.
And then,
You
and then
don't
I
know where to
explained that the
apply.
logic doesn't apply to my character
Yeah, why?
because I don't believe it does. You haven't explained why it does. I've explained this
Okay,
multiple times.
that's not a counter argument. You just don't believe it does, therefore doesn't. Like, what the fuck? That's not a counter argument.
I'm gonna
We can move
explain
on.
this for you because I don't think you were relax. I'm gonna explain this for you because I don't think you were educated on this when you initially started debating. When someone gives a proposition X and they say this is the case, and someone says I don't believe this is the case, it is on the such person that made such proposition to prove that it is the case. I don't know if you understand what Hitchens razor is. I don't know if you understand the idea of dismissing evidence that's baseless, but that's essentially what I'm doing. When I say that I don't believe it, that's not the only logic. Relax. You have a terrible ADHD over talking problem. Take your Adderall and just sit back for a second. Listen, the idea is when you're making a proposition, for example, when you say, well, okay, this logic that I have to place this brick wall spatially in order to understand where it is, or to, at least in the sense physically affect it. This logic, I agree, is something that's applied to our world, but I don't understand why this has to be an assumption applied to DC, which I had stated multiple times, which is why I'm very, very confused as to why you're not tracking this. The idea is, if I'm saying that, oh, I don't believe something is the case, I'm not saying that you're wrong because I don't believe it. I'm not even saying you're wrong as a whole. I'm saying that the proposition, I do not affirm or deny this because it's a proposition that has not been based in things that can be affirmatively proven. The last line of explanation that you tried to give was the brick wall analogy, to where I already explained, okay, why does this logic have to apply to DC, and how do you know this is the normative basis behind such? Which you initially, in the very beginning of your point, already made the assumption that this is, which you still haven't given a proper explanation or response to that.
But again, okay, for you said that this wouldn't apply to DC. I guess if there's no distinction, you said why does it apply to DC? I'm going to answer that. Yeah, but certainly there's not distinct. I guess what's it called? There's not like any distinct properties of applicability, like what we do for abilities to be applied to. I don't know if we can make the conclusion that it just wouldn't work. So I guess we would make the conclusion that it would work.
Yeah, so I already explained why this logic is extremely flawed, because just because you cannot do such a thing doesn't mean that there is no external explanation that lingers behind what you're saying.
I'm just using what
your
I
basis
know.
behind this, relax. If your basis behind this is simply just saying, oh, well, I don't see any other logic, so this doesn't make any sense to me, one could argue or ask whether there's a logic outside of your personal view that contradicts what you're saying, to which you would say, oh, okay, well, yeah, there is. I hope so, because I hope you don't have to go under why people have different interpretations than you. Which you'd have to be placed to explain why your personal view is distinct and uniquely true compared to every other conclusion every other view that tries to reach a conclusion on such, which you still have not, And again, if you feel that you have,
I'm just
relax. If you feel that you have in such an instance, then we can just go to conclusions. And if you feel that I haven't, we can go to conclusions, because we're just repeating ourselves. It's quite useless.
That's not my argument, bro. Okay, I said if there's no I don't think we can make the conclusion that this can be the case. The claim that this thing wouldn't work on, I guess, DC, that there's I guess the probability upholding or oriented by that question. He said, why would this apply towards my character in this, my verse in this case? That's entailed by the question. You say, what's called that? If you bring up that proposition and there's just no basis towards that, we can just dismiss that. Again, I'm saying from what I know, if there's no like a contradict said thing, I guess I would have to normally be accepted. But if there's something else that is presented towards it, this proposition that this thing is true, change. It's your burden currently to bring this up. If you don't, we can go to conclusions.
Okay, champ. So if that's your whole point, to which you just repeated yourself, and I did already explain, that's completely fine. We can go to conclusions. So who would you like to conclude to? Can you hear me? Or
he's muted.
Can you hear him,
That
champ?
nigga probably went to TikTok go find
can
his
hear you.
scans, bro. I'm crying.
Yo, Shars or Mono.
Okay, well, I don't agree to Shars or
Mono.
Mono.
Bro, stop stalling, bro. Just conclude, nigga.
Because I feel like they have
because I feel like they have a consensus in the community for being people who are trolls and more interested in entertainment rather than the actual logistics of the argument. You know, and I feel like that's, if I were to ask other people of such, for example, if I were to ask Fix or someone else in the VC of such, they'd probably agree in that instance. That's just my personal view of why.
Okay, what's it called? Shit. Shika.
I'm fine with Sheik.
That boy was not paying attention. I ain't gonna lie, he was not paying attention.
Damn.
No,
That's
Yo,
crazy.
Yanni student. Wait, Yanni student. Can you judge for us, Yanni student? Please.
What the fuck?
I
Yo, why
don't
that
know.
food
I don't
look
know.
good, bro?
I don't know who the fuck
Is that fucking beans? Are you cooking beans? Wait, hold up.
Nigga, that steak, nigga.
Yo,
I thought that was
Well, how
just
about this?
beans,
Are you
bro.
aware?
Chill.
Calm down, please. Wait, do you know who what's it called? Flax is Psychotic.
No. Joe, Ryko, you want to judge?
Okay, well now I'm gonna disagree with that since you just ignored me, bitch. Now do you know who Clixie is?
Bitch. Yeah.
Anyways,
Keep playing. I'm
alright,
just gonna
see ya,
deny your
Archie.
next judge if you don't address me.
See you guys.
Yo,
See ya.
you
I'm genuinely gonna
Chico,
deny your next judge if you don't address me. I'm just letting you know.
Why? Wait, what you said?
Because you're being annoying.
How am I being annoying?
Hold on, please.
Because I don't know who the
I'd
niggas
like
you're
to address
proposing
who
on.
I'm positing as a judge.
Yeah, I don't know. I already said no. I don't know who they are.
Yeah. What's going on? Oh, like a little debate.
These niggas here?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
You trying to judge this?
I don't know if Archie would agree with me.
I don't
Yo,
mind.
Archie, you agree,
actually.
Sonic?
Why would I not agree? Sonic, I keep telling you this. I don't. It's a one-sided. I don't have beef with you. Holy fuck, dude.
No, I don't think you have beef with me. I just don't know if you think I'm competent. That's it.
We've had discussions. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Sonic.
Okay.
Sonic, I have this. I don't need you to help me clear me that nigga.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I kind of don't want to judge the show right now. I just came to listen. But if y'all want, I can watch a recording. Like, I don't mind watching a recording. Just not.
It's okay.
Wait, Sonic.
I don't agree with that.
Is that Slacks?
I'd much rather an immediate.
Oh, what's up?
But, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You want to open like AV?
Wait, was that Slacks?
Yo, Mono, bro.
I was asking Sonic if you, nigga, what the fuck is interrupting me, bro?
If I want to what,
bro? Yo, why don't you want to grade Mono?
Nigga, shut up, nigga.
Yeah, shut up, nigga.
Yo, shut your fat ass.
Nigga, shut your fat nigga.
Oh my.
Nigga, did I just hear you?
Yo.
Go ban for ban.
Yeah. Go ban with him,
bro,
bitch.
Relax. Nigga, you on TikTok.
Wait, Psychotic. Yeah. Okay. So, Psychotic, do you agree with... Holy fuck, bro. Do you have autism? Bro, Psychotic, do you agree with Yobi judging?
No, I literally cannot say.
Bro, Yobi, bro. Shut... I'm not calling it. Bro, I'm not...
Actually, it depends on how quick it is. How quick is it?
I don't know what that is now.
Yo, by the way, Archie, like Mono's actually kind of a good judge now. Like, he can vouch for that. So
yeah,
I mean,
that helps
I haven't heard this nigga in a while.
Yeah, I've already explained why I disagree with that. I don't know what you stating your opinion is gonna really do. I don't know why I care, but I mean, hey.
I said if it does something.
Why are you telling me?
Can we?
I already have my opinion.
We're not getting judgment. We can just like end like just cut.
I was gonna, Kuro, are you fine with that?
I was gonna say I can give like I know Archie doesn't know me, but I can give like an immediate judgment, and then y'all can go ahead and do whatever y'all are gonna do. If y'all are.
I was the. Okay, let me ask you something. What do you think the most relevant point of the debate was?
Huh?
Let me ask you something. What do you think the most relevant point of the debate was?
Or the most relevant point of the debate was, well, the point that y'all are on right now is whether or not this person can use their ability without whether or not they can use the ability without having to use some type of sensory process on said character, right? That being Aizen, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah. And what do you think? Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what do you think the burden of proof is? Like, not whose it's on, because that's kind of a biased question, but just like, what do you think the overall burden of proof is right now?
Yeah, the burden of proof is just proving the said claim that I already said, right? The claim that is this character cannot use this ability without sensory processes. That's the claim right now.
Was that burden never justified or fulfilled?
Well, the burden is placed on whoever makes a certain claim. I would say that's
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So like,
okay.
the
Here,
burden
I'll
never
have this.
fulfilled.
I'll have this. We can have him be an immediate right now. I have a feeling that I'm gonna get trolled, but I'm just gonna assume not. Anyways, even though I do this 24/7, that's always
Yeah, sure. I get it.
We can have it. That's
yeah. So I pretty much already listened to it, and I think from what I have heard, right, Archie won that point. I just think that like if you make the claim that someone can't do something, and then you try to justify it, but there's no evidence for that character even. There's no evidence, like there's no scans of this character's powers anyways. There's no argument there. And also the fact that you didn't give any evidence, I just feel like out of those precedences, it's kind of weird to say that you
evidence of
won.
what? Evidence of what?
So like you made the claim that, right? You made the claim that, for instance, they can't use this thing without they can't use this power without some sensory process, right? And then you said, okay, the reason why is because normatively, when we see certain things, right? Normatively, what would be the case is this. Normatively, what would be the case is X, right? And the other case is absurd, right? That's what you're saying. And you're like, okay, so we use this normative thing, and then that's not what you're saying.
No. That was my whole thing to say. Like, I brought up another factor. I said we'd like at least accept this unless there's some sort of contradictory thing. But for him to say that my character would be like, I guess his character would be applying his ability towards another character, like kind of certain it's kind of less probable than just mine. He never draws some form of distinction on what can be applied. So how would he
Wait, I have a question. Rather to just like keep yapping for like the next 10-20 minutes, just give a conclusion so I can just give a verdict. It's not that hard.
I don't know who you are.
Okay, do you know wait. Do you know 100% of everyone in this VC apart from me?
Bro, who are you, bro? Yo.
Nigga, no, that's not that is not a point, nigga. I'm more noni. We cannot go.
I mean,
that
Archie
right now.
allowed me to do it, and he didn't know who I was.
Why are we comparing
No. No, because he just I'm trying to help him and he's just saying I know who you are, nigga.
Oh my god.
Why do you think that I'm trying to ego you when I'm literally trying to help you right now? Like, does that make fucking sense? Nigga said, what the fuck? Nigga, who are you, nigga? You came from
nigga, you fucking
Yo, he muted this dude. But yeah, I was gonna say, he's not arguing for his character right now. That's what he said himself, right? He's not arguing for his character. He didn't give any scans or any argument for the proceedings of his character. You're just saying, okay, yeah, if this is the case, right?
He said he wasn't.
Wait,
no. He said he is some form of way to bypass.
There's no way they got Ray judging in 2024.
No, it's just okay. It's just for this point, bro. I don't judge like that.
Infinity killed me,
He
bro.
said he got his character got a way to bypass it.
Anyway, Psychotic.
You can
I
said
don't
he has
think you
a
understand what I
that can
said.
bypass it. Wait,
Psychotic. I'm trying to help you right now.
Wait, Archie. Quick question. You made that claim before or after he made the other claim?
So I'll re-clarify because he's purposefully voiding context. So initially, he asked me for why I think my character wins, and for me to give an argument, and I stated that I think my character can take your character through the stations of the pre-life and essentially void your character's ability, which I assumed he wanted evidence for, but then afterwards, rather than that, he said, that's fine, I'm just going to scale my character, because I think your character won't even be able to affect me.
I never said that. Yo, check recording, I never said that.
Oh my god.
Yo,
Psychotic.
tell me why I said
Wait,
that.
can somebody take this in his terms before I start talking?
Someone check recording, when did I say that?
Like, no, like, genuinely, like, can someone take this in his terms before I start talking? Because I'm trying to help you.
Go speak to Slacks like that.
And he